Welcome to She Sells Radio. We are talking today about when to believe your thoughts because, believe it or not, your thoughts lie to you all the time. And just because you think a thought, it doesn't mean it's true. Now, I know this sounds crazy if you've never heard it explained this way before, but follow all the way along to the end. I'm going to give you some context, and I wanted to share this today because this is so critical for those of us who are sales leaders, business owners, because your state, what you think about what's possible for you, how you analyze certain situations, what you tell yourself when a customer cancels or when a deal doesn't go through, or when you're faced with a really big opportunity. And whether you say, yes, of course, I've got this, I can do it, or you have a limiting thought of, I'm not worthy, this is too big, etc. Your thoughts will literally own you if you don't know how to decipher when they're true and when they're not. And if we don't know how to shift our thoughts to create the story that we want to live out. So this is so important. And I'm going to share a quick story here first. I was talking to a team member yesterday who was having kind of a hard time. She's usually really excited about marketing and promoting this certain product. And she was like, yeah, she was like, I'm struggling with some self-doubt. I don't know why. I'm usually like excited about this, but today I'm really bumping up against some negative thoughts, and she needed some help getting out of it. Now, what she had shared with me a little earlier on in the day too, was that she had been up really late the night before. She was building a new cabinet for her home, and she was more tired than usual. And usually her energy is really like high and positive. And she was kind of like just blah yesterday, which of course, if you've been up all night, you haven't gotten a lot of sleep. For most of us, we're going to have that blah energy. And this is so helpful when you know this, because I instantly knew that the problem wasn't that the product wasn't good or that she wasn't capable or that anything had really changed there. It was literally her emotional state, because you cannot think greater than your emotional state. It's not possible. I want you to think about it. When you are feeling anxiety, do you have do you have the most empowered ideas about your life? Do you have breakthrough ideas that change the game for you? Or instead, are you thinking thoughts that are like, oh my gosh, is this deal going to come through? How am I going to pay the bills? What's going to happen? Yada, yada, right? Those are the thoughts in the mind of anxiety. But when you feel relaxed, present, calm, expansive, abundant, joyful, maybe you're on vacation, maybe you're doing something new, having a new experience, or maybe you're even just kind of like chill and zoned out and you're driving or you're doing yoga or you're taking a shower. Isn't that where the great thoughts come? Isn't that where the great ideas come? Isn't that where that same situation that felt so challenging to you the day before, now suddenly you see it from a totally different perspective and a totally different level of consciousness? And so I want to give you a hack in this episode. It's something I use in my own life all the time to determine, when do I listen to my thoughts and when do I not? So here's the thing, and we're not going to do a super deep dive into thoughts and belief systems today because we just don't have enough time. It takes a lot more time than that. It's things I do like deep dives into with my clients and work on them with. But at a high level, you're going to have thoughts based on your belief systems, based upon what you believe to be true about the world. And those belief systems, they get installed throughout our lives. Quite a bit of them come before the age of 7, when you're growing up and you have slower brain waves. So you're in delta brain waves and then theta brain waves up until about the age of 7. And those are the same brain waves that you're in when you're under hypnosis. So when you're growing up, you don't have the ability to filter out information that you hear people talking about. You hear someone say, rich people are greedy, and you assign meaning to, if I make a lot of money, I'm going to be a bad person. You hear your parents arguing about money. Even if you're not supposed to hear the argument, you take that in to mean money makes people argue. I want love, and I guess I can't have both money and love, so I'm going to choose love. And then we go on and we wonder why later on in life It's hard for us to hit our sales quotas or our goals. It's hard for us to bring in more money. And it's not just about money. It's about everything in life. So it's important to know this, but you're always going to think thoughts in accordance with your belief system. And so that's why two people can be in the exact same situation. One, let's say a major client drops off. Two people, exact same situation. One of them who has a belief system that they're a victim, that things are always working against them. They're going to approach that situation with that level of mind, with that level of consciousness. They're going to think, of course, this happened. I have a hard time keeping clients. I'm not going to be able to pay my bills. What am I going to do? A different person who has a belief system that things are always working out for them, and that when something in their life leaves, it means that there's space being created for something better suited for them. How are they going to approach that same situation? They're going to approach it with some gratitude. They're going to approach it with hope. They're going to approach it with confidence. They're going to approach it with certainty. They're not going to have that negative reaction. And so I want to share that to show that thoughts are subjective. It's all based upon your programming and your belief systems. Now, we trust our thoughts. When we think of thought, we just naturally assume that it's true. And this is where doing the daily work of raising your level of consciousness to be able to observe your thoughts, not get caught up in the program, but actually observe your thoughts to see, is that thought something I want to be true for me? Maybe I've thought it a million times, but is that in alignment with what I want to create in my life, or is it not? When we start to take a step back and start to observe our thoughts from a distance and realize we are not our thoughts, life gets very interesting. First of all, it gets very interesting, but it also gets really exciting. So the bottom line here is you are not your thoughts, no more than you are your leg or your arm, right? Or your hand. They're a part of you. They're a part of your body, but you're not them. Neither are you your thoughts. They're just a function of the mind, and they're based on the programs that have been installed over the course of your life. Now, again, the beautiful thing with all of this, people used to think you can't, once you're 35, you can't change. And research shows that by the age of 35, 95% of who you are is a hardwired set of belief systems and programs. But here's the thing, you can shift it. You can change it. It's the work I do every day in my life. It's the work I do with my clients. Because if we want to, let's say you want to go from 6 to 7 figures in earning, guess what? You got to start believing you can do it. You got to start seeing yourself as someone who can have that. You've got to start thinking thoughts that are in alignment with someone who has that result. Otherwise, you're going to feel like you're just spinning your wheels all the time. So we're not going to get super deep into how to change beliefs today, but the bottom line is you can. And I want you to know that you can. This is the exciting thing of science today, is it's all about possibility. It's all possible to change. There's a whole methodology to the change. But for today, what I want you to know, this is your hack that you can use of, when should I listen to my thoughts and believe them? And when should I not? I want you to pay attention to how do you feel? When you had that thought, how were you feeling? When you were if you were in any sort of suffering state, any sort of disempowered state, and that's going to range from boredom to, lack to anxiety to fear to grief. So any emotional state that doesn't feel good, that's your dead cue that you shouldn't listen to your thoughts in that moment. Your thoughts in that moment, they are not, this is how your nervous system is wired. It's so complex, but it's so brilliant. When you are in a negative emotional state, you're not going to think thoughts that are in alignment with the truth of who you are, with the truth of what's possible for you, with what you want to create, with the future you want to create. So in that moment, that's your giveaway. And I know it can feel hard in that moment, but that's your giveaway. As soon as you become conscious of it, to take a step back and say, you know what? I'm not going to try to analyze this situation from this state, because I know from this state, I'm only going to think thoughts that create more anxiety, more overwhelm, more fear, more anger. And that's not where I want to go. So let me take a step back and let me do what I need to do to get back into an empowered state. Whether sometimes it's taking a nap. Sometimes it's going for a walk. Sometimes you literally just have to go to bed and wake up the next day and it's better. kind of depends on how much energy you got going behind the negative state. But what you will find is when you get back into a positive state, you will view that same situation from a totally different level of mind. And you'll have new ideas show up. You'll have new inspiration show up. You'll imagine this, actually feel grateful for it because you'll see how it's been serving you and helping you to get to that next level that you want to go to. So when you're in that negative state, as much as you can, disregard the thoughts. It's not a time to take action based on the thoughts you're thinking. When you do that, that's when you go back and you say, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I said that. Oh my gosh. Because you were in fight or flight, you're in reactive mode. You're not going to think powerfully during that time, and any action you feel inspired to take during that time is not going to be in your best interest or other people's best interest. Then the flip side of that is when you're in a positive state, gratitude, joy, peace, empowerment, love, freedom, you can actually think thoughts that are equal to that state. You're going to think beautiful thoughts that are going to get you to where you want to go. They're going to get you to your goal. That's when you listen to the thoughts. That's when you take action on the inspired ideas that show up. That's when you move forward. So it's this little hack, but it's life-changing when we know this and when we learn this. And I share this as someone who spent so much of her life in low-grade anxiety, in guilt, in shame, not even knowing that there was anything else. And so I'm not going to lie and say like, this is easy and it's snap the fingers. This is something I've been consciously working on for years in my life now. And I'm not perfect with it. And I do go back to old states sometimes, but the vast majority of the time I'm able to live in that really beautiful state, and life is so much easier. And then when you know this, so when you do the work to consistently get yourself in that more empowered state, and you slip back or you have something happen and it triggers you, like you're gentle with yourself, you're kind with yourself, but you also know, I'm not going to listen to and believe the thoughts I think while I'm in this emotional state, because they're not in alignment with the truth of who I am, which is an unlimited, all-powerful being who's here to create the life experience that you want. So again, I just think this is such an important concept. It's something we could spend, days on unpacking together. This is super high level, but it's so important for those of us who are, sales leaders, entrepreneurs out there. It's a roller coaster, right? It can feel like a roller coaster. And if we don't know how to manage our state and how to make decisions based on our state, we'll be swept all over the place. So I hope this empowers you. I want to hear your biggest takeaway. Tag me on social. I'm at Elise Archer on every platform. I'd love to hear what your aha moment was with this and how you're going to use this moving forward in your life. If you're a woman who is ready for more in your life, and part of that more looks like you're ready to break through 6 figures this year, go check out the 10K Club. It's our program for women to get them to 10K months quickly, easily, and joyfully. EliseArcher.com/10K Club. You can learn how to apply there. And at EliseArcher.com, we have all the goodies, freebies, trainings, all my podcast episodes, different ways we can work together. So you can go there and check that out too. All right, my friend, thank you so much for listening or watching today. I'm so grateful for you, and I'll see you on our next episode.